Hey everybody, thank you for jumping in. This is the Invest Answers channel, and my job is to give you the answers you need for your investment so you can achieve your financial freedom as quickly as possible. So every week in this new segment, I'm going to look at the top questions that are submitted to me from the channel and answer them. So you'll all get a lot out of this, and questions come from the left field and the right field and everything else in between. So thank you for those submissions and keep them coming. So first of all, we are hearing from Christian Wolf. He had a very interesting question, and that was all about how early are we with Bitcoin in terms of adoption, and what is the percentage of people in the USA and worldwide who actually adopt Bitcoin? So that's a very good question. So right now, I think in terms of global adoption, we are at probably the 1.7% mark in terms of people that actually have Bitcoin and use it. And also in terms of the United States, I reckon about 11% of the US population holds Bitcoin in one form or another. That could be indirectly through something like an ARK ETF fund or a Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, or they could even have Bitcoin directly. Maybe they bought it in PayPal or Square or hold it on Coinbase or one of these other places. So again, just to summarize, good question. 1.7% in terms of global adoption. In some countries it's far more advanced, and probably 11% of Americans have exposure to Bitcoin, i.e. they hold it in one way or another, and that's skewed heavily towards people who are under 40 years of age who are much bigger believers. So the second question is from Darren Jamrock. He's a little bit Bitcoin spooked. He was wondering what my perspective is on volatility and strategies to hold or hodl during 2021. So when I look at 2021, I kind of break it down into a couple of segments, and I use numbers. So I am pretty confident that Bitcoin will be between $100,000 and $208,000 by year end. So let's break that into chunks. Let's imagine there's a 30% chance that Bitcoin will be $100,000 by December 2021, and a 30% chance it'll be $208,000 by year end 2021. Let's also throw in two other numbers. Let's assume a 20% chance that Bitcoin stays where it is right now, which is about $32,500. And let's assume a 20% chance, just to pad our numbers and to be ultra conservative, that it goes to zero. Okay, so if we add up all of those numbers together, in my head we get about $98,000 approximately, and that is our expectation for the end of the year. Now, there will be volatility, and I'll talk a little bit about some of the volatility coming later in this actual segment. So I think at some stage during 2021, having that number of about 98,000 is something we should all be pretty confident in, which is a good multiple of where we are from here, more than 3x. Okay, question number 3 came in from the Drunken Dwarf, a very funny name. He had concerns regarding Chinese New Year. So his question to me was, do I think that the fundamental events like Chinese New Year will have an impact on price? Because historically, Bitcoin price dropped right at Chinese New Year. And Chinese New Year this year is going to fall approximately in the middle of Feb. So the question is, could something happen? So let's look back in time and analyze exactly what went down. So if we look at, I think it was 2016, Bitcoin price fell approximately 8%. 2017, I think Bitcoin price fell approximately 20% for Chinese New Year. 2018 was a rough year. It fell 50%. And 2019, I think it fell about 17%. But if you add all of those together and create an average, your average fall will be about 18.5%, 19%. So it's not that bad considering the volatility we've had in the beginning of January so far this year. So I am not that concerned about that at all. Now, there's one other thing I'd like to mention as well, is sometimes traders get things in their heads where they anticipate falls, and that causes them to behave in a certain way, like get out of positions, and that can also bring about some volatility. So bear that in mind, but the point is, people being freaked out by Chinese New Year may just become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So again, not too concerned considering the volatility we've had, so don't let that play with your trading strategies too much. Okay? So the fourth question was from Frank Abbott, and his question was a bit more of a technical question, and that was regarding the net unrealized profit loss assessments, or some people call them the NUPL assessments for Bitcoin. This is an interesting chart that compares the market value of the coin price multiplied by the number of coins compared to the realized value, and that is, rather than taking the current price of Bitcoin, the realized value takes the price of each Bitcoin when it was last moved, and it then multiplies that average price by the total number of coins in circulation. So by subtracting the realized value from market value, you calculate the unrealized profit loss. So basically, net for the NUPL assessment, I don't follow it for two reasons. One, if you did follow that NUPL assessment, you would have sold out of your Bitcoin on the 10th of November at $14,000 and you would have missed the ride up to $42,000. The second reason, looking at a stat of when the coins last moved, is an interesting number, but you have to remember big investors, high net worth individuals and institutions, they're pulling coins off the exchanges and they're storing them in cold storage. So that means more and more coins are off the exchanges for longer and longer compared to the increase in price. So you got a much bigger discrepancy between the price when the coin was last moved and the price today. Therefore, I don't believe in NUPL assessments anymore as much as I used to in the past. This fifth question came in from Opkane and it asks, do I have a timing system that I believe is reliable? And how do you play your options based on these different timing signals? And are you locked in when you get into options positions? So this is a very long, complicated story. And my first options video is coming out real soon. I'm going to talk about not only my favorite and most simple option strategy, that's also the most risk-free, but I'm also going to show the type of thesis I follow when I trade options. I'm going to show you my simulation model. I'm going to show you my options pricing model. And I'm going to show you the technical analysis I use for charting buy and sell signals. So this is not something I can answer right now in a quick Q&A, but I will tackle it all in an upcoming video in the next day or two. Final question number 6 came in from Jordania. And this is kind of a fun question, but it is, what music do you enjoy? And it's kind of an interesting one because I have a pretty broad taste in music. Probably my favorite band of all time is a band called Radiohead out of the UK. My favorite rock band, and yes, I like rock music, is Tool. I've been listening to them for a quarter of a century or more. And I also like music by The Weeknd. So thank you so much, everybody, for this. Watch for the scammers. Please subscribe if you like the content. Really good, interesting content coming up that will all help you find freedom in short order. Thank you all.